recording.
You are watching Our Stories on TikTok, the show that aims to document contemporary Ireland in all of its complexity, depth, beauty and darkness when it comes to it. We hope to represent all the characters, cultures and tribes of the west of Ireland, and Ireland more generally. We're trying to capture images in which we can see ourselves, our past and our future. If that sounds like something you're into, hit the subscribe button there, hey. So I'm here with Tommy McCarthy, a legendary boxer here in Belfast. Tommy, tell me a bit about what Belfast is like for you as a mixed race Irish man.
Run turn, rewind, come again.
Pull up that selector.
So what's Belfast like for me as a mixed race man in this city? For me, it's been good. You know, it's been a journey of the acceptance and people wanting to get to know me, and a lot of inquisitiveness.
Yeah.
I never really. Obviously, any black people in this country will tell you that you do go through, you experience some racism and prejudice and stuff. But for me, I think because I was a boxer and a successful boxer, mine was a different story of everyone wanting to get to know me, and I became a popular person among my peers, and I think as well, people know my family. Like I was known, like everybody knew me and everyone wanted to know me.
You're
so
really from Belfast.
Yeah, it's not like I wasn't picked on or bullied or anything like that. So I could say I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has a story as accepting as mine.
I mean, that's kind of one of the points that I want to make. Is kind of, there are difficulties, but I think if you have the right mindset and the discipline and all that, what I'm trying to get at is basically, do you feel like your colour has held you back? Like, you're a successful boxer. Do you think that kind of hindered you in doing what you wanted to do?
Not really, because I feel my colour, my ethnicity put more pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Because I knew that it's kind of different now, but it's not too different. But when I was young, back in, like when I started boxing here in 2002, there was no other black kids on the scene. There was just me. So everyone across the world always expects black people to be good at any form of athletics. They expect them to be brilliant at football, boxing, like anything black people do in the sporting field, they usually, excel. So I had this pressure on me that I'm representing the black community.
Yeah.
Everybody's expecting me to be good, so I have to be good.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not, I'm letting down black people worldwide. You know what I'm saying? So.
And that's a crazy pressure. I mean, like when I was doing my leaving cert, we'll say, and I'm thinking, I want to be on the TV, I want to be on the radio, I want to be a face or something. And when I turned on RT, I didn't see people that looked like me. You know, I didn't see. It just wasn't a thing. And from that position, because there isn't a lot of blueprints for a lot of us. A lot of us, the first black lads to do certain things. And it's a thing that's often said, but it's kind of like. But I have to be fair and say though that since I got over that hump of, which is a mental thing, once I got over that hump of, there's no black people on the TV. Like after that, I'd nearly say I was at an advantage, like the mixed raceness, you'd be pretty and stuff, and I think that's helped, and I think I have a unique selling point, and I know myself, like you won't find another one to replace me because the thing that I do, and I put a lot of that into colour, so it's funny how it's like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, well, I never looked at it as a curse ever, and I always my family's in London, right? So I used to be back and forth, still am back and forward to this day. But every time I went to London and came home, always felt more black because it was more apparent. Like when I went in London, my family live in, you know, amongst like the West Indian community. You'd be with black people just all the time.
Yeah.
So you just blend in. When I came home, I felt even more black. I was like, geez, I'm really sticking out here. So
Yeah.
I never, always felt like I was representing my family too. So I never even, I had my own goals. I'm only child as well. So you could say I'm self-centered sometimes. So
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a champion boxer. I knew I wanted to be on TV and all that. And I didn't, like, I never even really thought of it. No, when I turned on TV, UTV, RT, there's no black people here. I never even, like, even back when I was young, I was playing GAA, I was playing hurling and football. I wanted to play for Anthem. Anything I've ever done, I always wanted to be the best. So I was like, I want to be the first black person to play for Anthem. And just imagine myself, like, I never looked at it as, oh, there's no other black people doing this, so I can't do it. I always wanted to be the first. Like, even
that's an incredible, like, yeah, that's interesting because it's like, you know that you have the opportunity and it makes it even better when you do it. Like, you were born in London and you lived the rest of your life like in Belfast.
In Belfast, yeah. So what happened? My father's from here, West Belfast, and he went to London. Well, I think he went to Birmingham first, and then made his way down to London when he was like 18. And my mother was in London. My grandparents are from Jamaica, so they were there and had 9 kids, and whatever the fate brought my mother and father together to have me. And 6 weeks after I was born, I was brought home to get christened straight away here in West Belfast. So from I was born, I was back and forward between Belfast and London, but then my mother died, so I came here full time to live with my father's grandparents. So it wasn't, when I got here full time, it wasn't a big mad culture shock or anything. Because some kids who are coming from mixed parents, if they're in England first, they probably never even really was in Ireland, or if they were somewhere, but they were in the black community, and they're just getting snatched out and dropped in the white community, and they're like, oh my God, what's going on? Whereas I grew up, I always had friends from when I was born here, had friends in London, so it wasn't like it wasn't like it was alien to me.
I mean, I'm the same, like, so two of my grandparents were cattle farmers in Galway, and 2 were sugarcane farmers in St. Catherine, Jamaica, you know? And that emigration story, like, the Irish are known for leaving, you know, and they went to England, and the same thing then happens in the Caribbean. So it makes sense, and it's quite a common story then that happens. But I think it's interesting, like, as you say, so, okay, I'll ask you this way. Do you think that, like, your identity and you say it yourself, it's in your Twitter bio, proud Irish man with Jamaican roots, you know? Can you speak on just how important your identity and that is to you?
Yeah, well, a lot of people, I believe, go through life and they don't even really, like, think about their identity. They're just, I think as well, why it's important to me is I'm trying to be a successful person in my field, and they're saying the biggest opposition to success isn't laziness, it's conformity. So everyone just conforms and like, listen, I'm just a person, I'm doing this. Whereas I feel like I have a different mindset. So I had to, look at myself and who am I? That's the question that everyone needs to ask, but not everyone does. So being here, coming over here from London, even to this day, my friends still make fun of me. Sure, you're English anyway. and that just kills me. So, you know, I'm a proud Irish. Like, I don't have one drop of English blood, and I just happen to be born there.
Yeah.
And
I say that all the time, and this is not going to make the edit. Yeah? Call me black, anything you want, but
don't call me English. Yeah. So that's it, you know.
That's so funny, and I think I completely agree, and I can relate to that so much because I feel like my identity, the Irish part and the Jamaican part, are important more so because it's like I put work into this. You know, this was a journey. When I was younger, I didn't feel like this, and it brings me such a meaning into my life. Like it actually matters to me a lot, and as well, it wasn't free. You know, like you paid for it in the times when you didn't know what the crack was, and like you say, you sat there and you're thinking, "What am I?" Which is a tough, like a deep question to ask. Like,
and especially, you know, you were being the same about being mixed. Just when you're with your black family, it's like black people, they would never say, like, call you black. They would always say you're mixed race. They would never. Whereas here, they would never say mixed race or they would you're just black. So it used to annoy me when I'm with my family. They're always saying, "Oh yeah, my mixed race cousin." Or I remember one day I was in my auntie's house and I had my feet up on the chair, and my cousin Rachel come over and she was like, "Get your mixed race toes off," and I was like, "Why didn't you just say, why don't you get your black toes off the and all that stuff used to."
Yeah.
So then it's just an inward journey of like who am I, and I always growing up, you know, I'm from a Jamaican family and we're proud Jamaicans. Even, you know, they live in London. Everyone, the food, they eat Jamaican Caribbean cuisine with Jamaican food every day. We're listening to reggae music. We're going to the church. And just everything that my grandparents, they brought Jamaica with them when they came to, and their friends were all here. So I was so proud of that. And then being Irish, you know, like when I used to go away and box, I remember I was 14, one of my first trips, we were in Russia, and like, this is the Irish team, and we met these old Irish couple, and the guy pointed at me, you know how Irish people are cheeky, so Jamaican, he's not Irish. And man, fucking I'm like from Belfast, and they say, so for me,
I get that. I get what's your name? And I say Paraic, and there's a double take, and then like you say, there's the odd cheeky one. It's like you don't look like a Paraic.
Yeah,
sure. That happened to me in London as well. Like I met these ones, and they were from Dublin. And what's your name? Paraic. Where you from? Galway. And they're like, you're not from Galway. It's not Paraic. And I think what's funny about that is, you know, like you kind of alluded to earlier about people, because I'm sure if you're just a Belfast lad through and through, and like you wouldn't have to think about it, you know. It wouldn't. So it'd just be a given, like.
Yeah.
And which is what it is at the end of the day.
I was just saying, like the way I look at it is, you could go two ways. You can shy away from who you are and try and be like everyone else, and you know, like no, I'm just Irish, or if you lived in England, I'm just English, or if you lived anywhere, just try and just assimilate into what your surroundings, or you go, look, this is what I am and I'm proud of it. So for me, that's the road I went down. I was like, I'm Irish, I'm proud of it. Like, you can't take that away from me because that's what I am. And I'm Jamaican, I'm proud of that, and you can't take that away from me either. So this is who I am. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. I want everybody to know that I'm proud of who I am and where I come from, instead of being like, oh yeah, well, yeah, my daddy's Irish, my granny's from, like, you know, like, just try and pull it down. And there are some people who are like, even, I feel like you notice it more with people from like immigrants who are, like, say your parents came from Poland or like Greece or something, or they would say, even people like a guy I know from Wales, his parents are Irish, and he would go, oh yeah, my mum and dad's Irish, but I'm Welsh. And they can easily do that because if everyone's weight and your weight, you can just, like, it doesn't matter. But we can't do it because I couldn't say, oh yeah, like if I had fucking...
My parents are black, but I'm not black.
Yeah, you could be, or like even like now in Ireland, there's a lot of African migrants here.
Yeah.
Like there'll never be a time where, like, if you're born in Dublin and grew up with your both parents are Nigerian, they can go, oh yeah, my parents are Nigerian, but I'm Irish. Like, they could say it, but it won't fly because people will want to know. Yeah. Like, even if nobody's going to ask it, you're just on the air.
Like, you see the same thing when, I have cousins, will say, whose parents would have been Irish, and then they go to England, they're just English. Like,
they're just English,
and they come home here and they've no sense of the way or the vibe, or even like, it's more so than the culture. Like, I think we have, like, Irish people have a very set and kind of strange way about them that if you don't understand it,
Yeah.
I'd hate that. I'd hate to think that you'd lose your own culture, you'd lose your own self.
Yeah. So, and that is the danger of being, of anyone who aren't accepting themselves. That is the danger of just conforming to your surroundings. Like, you don't have to go and throw it in everyone's face. Like your cousins who are white, who are Irish, but they don't have to go up to everyone and go, I'm Irish, mate. They don't. But if they're asked, they should be proud. They shouldn't say, nah, stay away from it. Like me, I didn't go through a phase of being like a militant black guy, like just black everything. But
tell me about that. I was a Rasta for a couple of months. I was on Malcolm X Muslim for a week.
So I went through those stages as well. But it's like, you don't have to throw it in people's faces. If you're proud of it, like, be proud of it and carry yourself in a proud way. But I don't have to just keep going, listen, I'm an Irish Jamaican. Like, oh, do you want a cup of tea? No, hey, look, I'm an Irish Jamaican. Like, you don't have to just keep, but I'm just letting you know that I am Irish and I am Jamaican, and that's what I represent.
It's a great journey because, like you say, you do have those, and there's beauty in those phases and those and then you come to a mature, like, destination at the end, which is basically just what you are, and that's how it is. Like, that's a good point. I think a point that's never really made, and I think should be made about Ireland in general, is I feel like as a whole, you can kind of, people will give you the space to do what you need to do and be what you need to, and I don't feel like there's a constant force like pushing on us to be a certain way. Like, I find in Galway, like, I do genuinely feel free to express myself culturally, and I'm not living in fear of a massive backlash if I'm walking about and it might be a bit of dancehall on the thing, and I might just you know what I mean. Like, I can be myself. I can feel that way. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like that is an Irish trait. Like, people don't care about, like, they might say something, but I think a famous, like, everyone in Ireland knows, I can do what they want, but just don't do it around me if they don't like it. Do you know what I mean? So nobody, if you was doing something that like, if there was dancehall music playing and you were dancing, people wouldn't care. Yeah. Like, nobody cares as long as you're not annoying them. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I've been free to express myself culturally. I had locks up until a couple of years. Like, nobody has ever made me feel a certain kind of way. Yeah. But that's, again, I have to say, because speaking with other mixed race people, they don't have them luxuries. Well, according to them. So I don't want to because I remember a few years ago doing an interview saying, "Nah, Belfast great. I never was singled out, never was racially abused, and not like trying to make it out as if everything's hunky dory, but it's not." And I feel bad. I don't want to take away from other people who are having hard times. Like Emma, she just wrote that book, Don't Touch My Heart, and like her stories is like she couldn't even, like she's getting tortured about her hair. So people are getting having it hard, but
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think like there have been times like coming up, going through school and whatever. There were times when I had to throw a few slaps, and you had to be quick with the words, and you had to be on the defensive. But I wonder, is that slabbering, as you say up here, slagging? Is that the crack? Is that part of the culture in itself? And then, or like, is it serious, institutional?
I think it's a bit of both. I think unless you're really dumb, you can tell the difference between someone having a crack and somebody like being trying to offend you and being racist. Because, like you say, in school, you do get people slagging and stabbing, but there's a difference in somebody who you know, who you're friendly with, going, what's happening, Paraic, you black cunt? No, like, or no, like, that black bastard hadn't bought a drink all night. Now, that does sound harsh, but it's the context. Whereas if somebody you don't know was like, look at this black cunt, then it's a different thing. So
I think you have to know the difference.
Yeah, you really do have to know the difference. And for me, with my circle, I always have like the one, I hate the M word. I try not to use it. Not that I try, I don't use it. And even like if I'm like rapping along the songs and stuff, I would leave it out in front of any white people, because I don't want people to go, oh, he's saying it so I can say it, because like I'd never do it. Like if I'm on my own or with my cousins, like if I'm repeating film lines or songs, but I try not to use it, and I try to keep racial stuff like the minimum, because even though it is a crack, sometimes the crack people get a wee bit too comfortable and then they may go over the line unknowingly. Do you know what I mean?
I think no, and you're dead right. There's a very important line, but the line is a bit thin. I think the way I always say it is, okay, and the N-word itself, I don't know how I feel about it, you know. I put it to you this way: it's a very strong word. It's not to be ramped with. But what I would say is, these days, I nearly feel like if I am talking to a white person and they say the N-word, it more shows that you are an absolute
not the same.
Dickhead.
Like
then the roots of the words, which means that you're trying to tell me that I'm not even good enough to be considered a human. You know.
Like in this day and age, because like we were saying earlier, like hip hop, or not hip hop, rap is pop music now, and everyone, it's like every song, just like always something nigga. So, and then in America, you have artists who may be like Puerto Rican or Hispanic, and they don't look black, but they're saying it because in America they get a pass. So around the world, it's like, I think young kids don't even realize that it's a racial slur. So I just try not to say it and not have people saying it. But if a white person did say it around me, I
believe in. I don't believe in free speech like that. Like I don't believe. Like, I'm not one of those people. But I feel like, hear what, right? when it comes to slagging, which is a big part of our culture. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
big
thing,
time.
like, you don't understand that. Like, you don't understand.
You don't have a good time if you're not out slagging people. Like if you went out to have, if me and you went for a drink and we just sat there and just had a serious conversation, it's like, I'm going like that boring bastard again. But if we're sitting there slagging each other, it's like just
it's a bit of crack at the end of the day. But I feel like here's what I think the difference is, right? Let's say I'm with somebody and they say something that's a bit sketchy, like a bit like that was, you know, we'll have to decide which side of the line that was, right? I feel like I will let it pass if I feel that the person is willing for a start and quite frankly capable of having that conversation, you know?
Yeah.
I have friends that are all different things that you could slag them about, but the difference is, and I might say to them as a laugh, knowing that we are friends, but also it comes with an obligation that I've said this now, and if I upset you, we'll have the chat, we will discuss it, and I will hear from your side of things what it is, you know? If you understand, then it's a joke that brings people together, but if you don't understand, then the schism widens, you know?
I think it's a respect thing as well, like, if you did have, like, if your friend, if you had a fat friend, and they were insecure about their weight, out of respect, you wouldn't slag them about their weight, you know, because you know that they can't take that thing. So somebody who respects me knows that I don't like it, or if they don't know me and they say something, because that has happened loads of times. So it's happened to you if you're in a new company and they say something like this has happened a few times to me, you know, like, what up, nigga? Like, so somebody said it, and I'm like, listen, don't be saying it. I always just straight away, just not in an aggressive way, just I don't really like it. So if somebody respects you, then they're not gonna say it. But if somebody doesn't respect you and they know they're gonna keep doing it, then you just have to get away from that person.
Yeah. Tell me this. Do you see a difference between outside of yourself as a man and being grown up and being in a different position as a person, right? But do you feel or see a difference in Belfast today and Belfast when you were a child? Do you see a
not a huge difference. There is a difference because, like I was saying to you before, with my daughter when she was starting school, I was worried about how it was going to be for her because I was the only black kid in my school and in my year, and I was like, is she going to have the backbone to withstand the stuff that kids say and that want to touch her hair and want to something stupid. Kids used to call me a Mars bar. I used to Mars bar. So I was going like, could my daughter, will she be able to take this on the tin, or is it going to affect her? But then when she went into school, there was another black kid in the class, another mixed race girl, and they linked up and were best mates. So then there was in the next door class there was another so there's 4 mixed race kids in her year group. So I was like, oh, shit's changing in here, but it's not massive. And I think for me as well, the internet has opened people's eyes to more cultures. So when I was young, people didn't have a clue about Jamaican culture or about London culture, and so there was certain words and things that that I would say that I would we slang terms which are Jamaican terms but they use in London. So nobody would have knew what I was talking about. They didn't know about the music. Like I was sourcing my music from my family overseas. And now kids these days, they're all like, I hear people saying wagwan all the time. Like nobody would have had a clue when I was young. They're listening, like UK rap and grime is like mainstream now. Whereas when I was young, we was talking earlier, but I never really got into grime, but I loved Kano and Kalashnikov and Dizzy Rascal, and I was like weird for listening to these guys. Why listen to English rap? So these kind of changes is opening people's minds to be more accepting of different cultures. Whereas when I was young, it was like he's Jamaican.
Yeah.
Bob Marley, people come, yeah man, and fucking Cool Runnings and all these stupid things. That was their reference. You know what I mean? Like, and do you smoke weed? That's the.
Oh my god.
That's all. I don't smoke weed. I never liked it, and but it's just, you're Jamaican, you smoke weed, Bob Marley, yeah man. They say, fuck's sake, now.
There's a bit more.
People are slightly more clued in.
And that's a very interesting point that you made. UK, I don't think it's necessarily, and I don't think the culture itself is English, but it's not signified by UK. Like so when we like the likes of Kano and even after grime came drill, grime and drill. You will find kids in no small numbers here that listen to that, and with that, like you say, there's a kind of imported culture almost, or I'm not sure if it's the culture that gets imported, but it's definitely like an awareness. Yeah. So if you say wagwan to somebody, you say yo fam, you say any of that kind of things, then you're more likely to be understood now, which is interesting. And
the thing, I say UK used to kill me saying, the UK. But it's just because they're situated in the UK. All these, especially now, these the MCs, they're all. If you listen, anyone like the Afrobeats is so big, and everyone now, they're always like rapping in patois. Like everyone's like so connected to their roots. But they just live in London.
I hate to start getting into music now, right? But it's like, you look at the likes of the forefathers of grime, the people who created it, the big...
Yeah, it comes from Jamaican, the sound
system.
system.
Listen to any Kano interview, he'll tell you that he was listening to Beanie Man and Bounty Killer and them lads, they're like Jamaican dancehall rappers, and that's where grime comes out of. There's not really... what we understand is English. It's like, and then obviously as it's come on, there's an African influence as well. And it's all, dancehall and Afrobeat is,
and that's another thing too. Then, which makes me more proud to be a Jamaican or of Jamaican descent, because this small island has just influenced like the whole, like all the white kids, all the Asian kids, everyone's trying to talk like they're all saying wagwan. They're all like, see in England they all say youths and things, and they're just talking like Jamaicans. And I say that's just something to be proud of, that I'm from that lineage of people who came here and more or less has just took over the Cockney slang's like almost dead now. You don't hear Cockneys anymore. Londoners are all like sound like bad men.
Like I can't think of two better countries. Like
exactly, that have influenced the whole world. That's what I always say to my wife. Like, two small islands. Like you go to America, everyone wants to be Irish. Oh yeah, my grand's Irish, I'm 6th century Irish, blah blah blah. Like everyone loves Irish people. They want to, even on the music side of things too. Like the U2 is one of the biggest bands of all time. Fairy Tale New York, one of the probably the biggest Christmas song ever. Like there's just so much pride. Like yes, that's where I'm from. And then on the other side, Jamaica. Like everyone wants to be Jamaican. In the Caribbean, the first country that people think of is Jamaica. So, I'm from two influential countries.
And I think, it'd be a shame if, like we're talking all this about having come to good places, well-rounded, like perspectives and stuff. I feel like I am, being Irish is class, like, do you know? There's no that's, and I think, so when I say, people used to say, I'm sure, like the word half caste, mixed race, they both sound the same to me personally, but here's the thing what I take issue with, right? I don't think it's two halves. I think it's two wholes, like, do you know what I mean? If dad was Italian or something else, then you would just be both, like.
Yeah. Like, well, for me, I only use the term mixed race, like, if I'm being technical. Like, I would never say, I would say I'm black Irish.
Yeah.
I always say it. Like, and my family, my black cousins would try and slag me, you know, like white boy and all this stuff. But I was like, I'm black Irish. I'm half green, half black. I would say I'm like mixed race, and I know just saying it kind of like diminishes you kind of. And half caste. Half caste is such an old term. Like I remember when I was young, and my mummy always used to say, "'Cause he's half caste," and obviously that may have been her ignorance, but I used to think it was half class, and I used to go to myself, like, I'm not in half the class. Like, why am I not in full class? I didn't know that it was caste. So
that comes from the Indian caste system, racial hierarchy thing.
I know now, but at the time I was like, what the? And
but how are you supposed to know? As a
exactly.
child?
But she would never say to me, "You're half." I just always remember overhearing her talking about me. You know, like, yeah, because Tommy's half caste. And then that is, especially Jamaican and Ireland too. The both two nations are kind of like still old school, and like the way that they talk in terms. Like my grandparents would still use the terms half caste sometimes, or quarter caste and all that.
I'm starting to like the word light skin because black is already
light. So that when the light skin came through, I was so glad. In my teenage years, that's when my black cousins just started, the light skin one, the light skin boy. And then when I was meeting Jamaicans, they was like, light skin boy, or red skin. I know now, people when I said red skin boy.
They've got some weird words for us in Jamaica, you know. You get yellow man and red man, and then you get high colour. Yeah,
that's what cause my cousins get jazz. Cause me and my grandparents like have a great relationship, and Granny just loves you because you're high coloured. Yeah, but which probably is true, but that is the thing. And I remember when my cousins, they came from, one of them came from Jamaica to London. First time I ever met her when I was young. She was just staring at me so much because she'd only just seen black people. She'd never seen white people. She'd never seen like mixed people. So she was looking at me and she just wanted to come and touch me. She was going, "Can't believe we have a white cousin, I was like, not white, you fucking bastard." And then when she seen like the white babies, she just wanted to go and touch him, she was just so intrigued.
For people who don't know, because as you said that, I'm thinking some people watching this ain't gonna have a clue what we're saying. So the idea of high colour is that you would be in your light skinness, you'd have like a higher social value, which is pretty heavy stuff, like, isn't it? That's grim enough, like.
And clear, that's what my Jamaican terms are. It's clear skin.
Clear skin. It's like too bright, you know? But even in understanding it, it's called growth.
And for me,
have the conversation, like.
Brilliant. And that's another reason. I know I said it at the start. I say it again. Like, I'm one of the lucky ones because a lot of the Black Irish community in this country, the age-old story is their dads came from Nigeria or Ghana or somewhere in Africa as students, got their mothers pregnant, went home, and these Black Irish kids never had any connection to their blackness. They don't know why they're this colour, and they're just kind of like lost. So I'm lucky, whereas, you know, with my mother being black, I was black before anything else. You know what I mean? So I already knew my blackness. That is my primary identity. Like, because you're your mother's child. Like, so black was the first thing. Whereas a lot of the Black Irish community, they're longing for us, and they don't know where to look. And I might be African, I might be Caribbean, I might be flipping South American. They don't know, so it's sad.
That is such an important point because it shows that we are great. Like we are, like you said, we are the lucky ones. Which actually, you know, in my own reflections, is a strange position to be in. It's a strange role to play, as if to say, yeah, man, my country loves me and I love my country and I can move about in it and I have just as much chance, if not more, than everybody else. But there is a real heritage of pain and suffering, you know? Like, so those people, not like directly, but you know what I mean, they took the brunt of it so that we could so that we could live this life.
And I feel even if like we had been born in back then, like in the 50s and the 60s, if it had been the same circumstances, I still think we would have been okay because we know our roots. Whereas the people, and even it's still happening to this day, the kids born the African, no, they don't know their dads, or the mothers falling out with their black dads and just taking them away, but they don't know who they are, and then all that they know is their Irishness. So whereas I was saying earlier, you know, I was, you know, almost pushed into owning who I am. So I'm Jamaican, I'm going to run with it. Like, all they know is their Irishness, so they're clinging to that, and then all the way kids around them are going, you're not Irish, you're not. But then what else are they? They don't know, so it's a shame. And then they're trying to own their blackness, but then what is their blackness? The TV, the African Americans, which is a completely another different culture. So then they start trying to, you know, do that. So we are lucky that we are connected to ours, and the unlucky ones, I think that's why they do get a hard time, because there's confusion, like internally, and like even, I don't know about you, for me, some people think I'm adopted because like they knew who my father was, and my dad's married to a girl from here, so nobody expects mixed people to have black mothers. They always think they have black fathers. So they used to go, no, I seen your mummy. And I was like, no, you didn't. Is that not your mummy? And going around thinking that I'm an adopted, like an African baby off his flipping trucker. But
I always remember a story of a great aunt of mine had not seen my mum in a few years, and asked her, like, I said to her, oh, aren't you great to be adopting that baby? Like, aren't you great? Like, and she explained that, no, it's my actual son. I mean, I mean, but listen, all I could say to someone who's watching this who feels like that is, there is hope.
Yeah.
You know, now more than ever, you know, and it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Sort yourself out, you know.
Like, I would say as well, if you know you are in that position where you don't know where your blackness comes from, all blackness comes from Africa anyway. So if you can't find that your father's link or your mother's link, you know, you can connect that Africa as a continent anyway, and just own it. Don't be ashamed of it, or because it's a gift. It's like melanin is a blessing that everyone wants, and you know, it's like the old Jamaican saying, "Wanty, no, getty, no, wanty." Like everyone who's late, all white people, they're spending money on stand-fastic sunbeds. They get like us, we are what everyone wants, and so you just have to own it and be proud of it. Now,
I think we're gonna leave it on a positive note. The man said, "Ja Rastafari."
Yes, bro.
Did you enjoy that? Did you? Well, fair play to you for getting to the end anyway. Why don't you watch another one? that one is the one that YouTube thinks that you'd like the most. And if you'd like access to some exclusive content, you can get the link in our description, which will bring you to the Patreon page. Thank you. Gur Míle Maith.